Hello everyone and welcome to UPSCprep.com, and I am Nimish Kapur. I am an ex-assistant commandant CISF. Today we are going to cover the Modern Indian History PYQs from 2016 to 2023, and we will be going in the reverse order. So the first thing which we are going to go is the UPSC Prelims 2023 questions. All the questions of the same will be going through. And the first question, and to be very honest, not a very difficult question. So the idea, the way we will be approaching all the questions is, we are not going to go through explanations. No. So explanations we won't be going through. There won't be any correct answer on the page so that you can answer before when I am talking, you try to guess and then we can briefly discuss and move on. So correct answer won't be shown on the page. Idea is you attempt while I speak, so that this way parallelly you revise the PYQs with me. So this entire process is, number one, to revise the PYQs, and number two is to look at the kind of questions and the approach, how to approach similar kind of questions in the prelims this year. So who among the following rulers of medieval Gujarat surrendered Diu to Portuguese? Now if you look at all the four options, they are Gujarat kings. Now this might be a difficult question. So if you've read history, very clearly it is written in year 1535. King of Gujarat had handed over Diu to Portuguese. Now you have to understand who was 1535. So Ahmed Shah was in 1400s, so not possible. And Muhammad Shah similarly in 1400s. I won't go into particular details because that is not what is required here. So option A and D will be eliminated. Either the option will be Mahmud Begarha and Bahadur Shah. But Mahmud Begarha was the king of Gujarat until 1511. Correct answer is Bahadur Shah. If you read history, very clearly it is mentioned that Bahadur Shah surrendered Diu to Portuguese in year 1535. The next question we go through is, with reference to Indian history, Alexander Rhea, A.H. Longhurst, Robert Seville, James Burgess and Walter Elliot were associated with. Now you don't need to remember each and every, even if you know one and their primary role, that is enough for you to come to a conclusion in this answer. So very common in your history books, you'll find any history book you pick up, Alexander Rhea and A.H. Longhurst are mostly mentioned as the archaeologists, clearly mentioned. So you don't need to look at anything else, you can clearly mark. So this is the correct answer. Archaeological excavations were they were associated with them. Then the third question. So till now you see the questions aren't too difficult, and this is the easiest of them all. By which one of the following acts was the Governor General of Bengal designated as the Governor General of India? Even in the video which we've discussed about the regulating acts, Pitt Act, Charter Acts and the Government of India Acts, everything is very clear. And this is the easiest. The year 1833 is when the Governor General of India, Bengal, post is discontinued and is made, now there is a Governor General of India. And it is clearly mentioned, when you read again the books, that William Bentinck is the last Governor General of Bengal but becomes the first Governor General of India in year 1833, after as stated by the Charter Act of 1833 as stated. So this is answer is D. Very easy question. Then the fourth question, and in 2023 there were only 4 questions from modern Indian history. So consider the following statements. Statement 1. 7th August is declared as National Handloom Day. Okay. Statement 2 says that it was in 1905 that Swadeshi movement was launched on the same day. Which one of the following is correct in respect of the above statements? That both statement 1 and 2 are correct and statement 2 is the correct explanation of 1. both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is not the correct explanation of 1. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is incorrect, and statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. See, if you think logically, there can be only two options. Very simple approach here. So you either number 1, statement 2 is incorrect. Either statement 2 is incorrect, then so there is no option of both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So what 7th August is declared a National Handloom Day, and it was in this day. So most likely the option would be either statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is not correct, or that if the statement 2 is correct, it automatically clearly signifies that it is the correct explanation. So answer is A, both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation. So you use your common sense here. Okay. Now we jump on to questions of year 2022. So the first question is, in the Government of India Act of 1919, the functions of provincial government were divided into reserved and transferred subjects. Right? Dyaki was there. So reserved and transferred. Which one of the following are treated as reserved? So which will be reserved? Which of course is higher in significance, because they are directly under the control of the governor or the governor general, right? Means that is where the legislature cannot do anything or the ministers cannot do anything. So the reserved subject must be the critical ones. So administration of justice, local self-government, land revenue, police. So it clearly says that 3 out of 4 are the ones which were reserved. So which is the least important one of them all? Again, common sense. We are going through this method how to approach similar. Local self-government is clearly seen to be which is devolution of power, and here least important, whereas administration of justice, police, land revenue all seems to be very, very important. Answer is C, 1, 3 and 4. This is how you can approach similar questions. The next is, consider the following freedom fighters: Barendra Kumar Ghosh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, Rash Bihari Bose. Who of the above were actively associated with Gadar party? So Barendra Kumar Ghosh and G.C. Chatterjee were never associated with Gadar party. If you read the revolutionary movement, they were not. Whereas Rash Bihari Bose was associated. So the correct answer is 3 only. Okay, so answer also is actively, not passively. Passively maybe that through smuggling of arms there might be some kind of help, but they were not actively associated with Gadar party. Only the Rash Bihari Bose was. So answer is D. The next question is, with the reference to the proposals of Cripps mission, consider the following statement. So year is 1942, Cripps mission. So August as offer has happened in year 1940. So we are in year 1942. The Constituent Assembly, the statement 1 says, the Constituent Assembly would have members nominated by provincial assemblies as well as princely states. So if you can easily, think of the first time elected, that it said the Constituent Assembly would have members elected by provincial assemblies and nominated by princely states. So this statement is incorrect. So which of the statements given above are correct? Answer cannot be this and this. So we already are B or neither. Okay, let's look at the second one. Any province which is not prepared to accept the new constitution would have the right to sign a separate agreement with Britain regarding its future. And that was the major point from where this Cripps proposal was rejected. So the answer is B. This is correct. So answer is B only. And the last question of 2022, also there were 4 questions with reference to Indian history. Consider the following statements. The Dutch established their factories, warehouses on the east coast on the lands granted to them by Gajapati rulers. So Gajapati rulers were there, and even Gajapati rulers were not at that time. They were well before. So Gajapati rulers were well before that period, not at that time. They're until 15th century or 16th century. So what we are talking about Dutch is post 16th century, and by that time Gajapati rulers were not there. They were not having the rule over the east coast lands. So statement 1 is incorrect. Alfonso de Albuquerque captured Goa from Bijapur Sultanate. It's correct. Given in the history, straightforward. The English East India Company established a factory at Madras on a plot of land leased from a representative of the Vijayanagara Empire. Yes, this is also correct. So answer is B, 2 and 3 only. Right? Now we'll look at UPSC Prelims 2021 questions, and there are in fact total 9 questions of modern Indian history in this year. That clearly signifies that there is not a limit of 4 or 5 questions, but there can be more questions also in a particular year. So significance of modern Indian history is huge. Even we've seen this trend in years like 18, 19 as well. So the first question of year 2021 is consider the following statements. The Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting voting rights to all women. Isn't this odd one out? All the women above age 21? In fact, if I remember correctly, there were certain property criteria introduced. So all the women above age 21, common sense wouldn't be correct. So this is incorrect. Whereas the Government of India Act of 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislature. It is correct. In provincial legislature, there were around 41 seats reserved for them, and there was conditional in central legislature as well. There was certain seats reserved. Which are the statements given above? So 2 is correct. Answer is B, 2 only. Now the next question is with reference to 8th August 1942 in Indian history, which one of the following statements is correct? The Quit India resolution was adopted by All India Congress Committee. Yes, 8th August is a very important date in Indian history. When you go and read about Quit India movement, this is the first point that on 8th August 1942, the resolution was adopted by the All India Congress Committee. In fact, there is a park which is now known as Agast Kranti Park in Mumbai. So very famous. The yes answer is A. Straightforward. And you don't have to in fact look into other options. Question number 3. Who among the following is associated with Songs from Prison, a translation of ancient Indian religious lyrics in English? Now, songs from prison. This is a factual question, and answer is M.K. Gandhi, which he wrote. Then who among the following was associated as secretary with Hindu Female School, which later came to be known as Bethune Female School? So in your social religious reform movements, you would have read that who was associated primarily with Bethune School, which was earlier known as Hindu Female School, none other than a pioneer of women education and widow remarriage in India. Answer is Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Question number 5 says that in the context of colonial India, Shah Nawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Sehgal and Gurbakh Singh Dhillon are remembered as. So if these 3 you go through multiple times in other books and even in your standard books, you will see that these are the officers of Indian National Army, officers of INA, because they had to undergo trials at Red Fort, infamous trials. So very clearly answer is D. Okay. Nowhere you'll read about they were members of drafting committee, not the members of interim government, neither the leaders of Swadeshi boycott movement. With reference to the Indian history, which one of the following statement are correct? The Nizamat of Arcot emerged out of Hyderabad state. If you read history, this option is correct. The Mysore kingdom emerged out of Vijayanagar Empire. Yes, this is also correct. Rohilkhand kingdom was formed out of the territories occupied by Ahmad Shah Durrani. No. So it's not the not by Ahmad Shah Durrani. So Rohilkhand, this is incorrect. Answer is A, 1 and 2. The next question 7. In the first quarter of 17th century, in which of the following were the factories of English East India Company located? Now first, they are saying first quarter. So what is first quarter? It is 1601 to 1625. So the list of is Bharuch or Broch, Surat factory was there. Surat was one of the first, right? Ahmedabad, Agra, and Masulipatam. These were, if you go into the list of factories initially they developed, Bharuch, Surat, Ahmedabad, Agra, Masulipatam until 1625. So A is correct because Broch is another word for Bharuch. Chikkakol and Tiruchirappalli is incorrect. Answer is A1 only. The 8th question of year 2021, with reference to Madanapalle of Andhra Pradesh, which one of the following statement is correct? Now they have specifically asked this question and included people who have association with Andhra or the region of Andhra Pradesh, like Pingali Venkayya, Pattabi, Sitarmaya, so that you may get confused with these options. But in fact, the first option, Pingali Venkayya designed tricolor Indian national flag here, no, it is not correct. Pattabi Sitarmaya led the Quit India movement of Andhra region from here. Even this is incorrect. In fact, the correct answer is Rabindranath Tagore translated the national anthem from Bengali to English here. Yes. Where fourth option, Madam Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott set up headquarters of Theosophical Society here. It is incorrect. Answer is C. So a little difficult question, but then the odd one out primarily looks that is the answer. And the last question for year 2021, consider the following statements. Saint Francis Xavier was one of the founding members of Jesuit order. It is correct. Saint Francis Xavier died in Goa and church is dedicated to him here. Well, it is a difficult question, but he didn't die here. He in fact died in a place in China. So this is incorrect. If that is incorrect, 2 is incorrect. So A is incorrect, B is incorrect, and D is incorrect. Answer is automatically C. Let's do a formality of looking at the third option as well. The feast of Saint Francis Xavier is celebrated in Goa each year. Yes, it is. So answer is C, 1 and 3 only. So this is where 2021 questions we complete here. Now we'll look at UPSC Prelims 2020 questions on modern Indian history. Again, 9 questions are there for this year. So what we've seen is 2023, 2022, there are around 4 questions. 2021 and 2029. So that means that this year you can expect a lot of questions on modern Indian history. This is my gut feeling. So the first question year 2020 in the context of Indian history, Rakhmabai case of 1884 revolved around. So out of context, a little difficult question. Rakhmabai was the first practicing doctor, female doctor in colonial India, right? And she was married as a child, and she's known for returning back to her parents. So this case revolves around what? Women's right to gain education? Not particularly, because she is herself very much educated. But age of consent, yes, because she was a child marriage. So this is incorrect first. In fact, A2 is correct. Third, restitution of conjugal rights, because she doesn't want to go back as a child. So it is restitution of conjugal rights is also one of the, it revolved around these areas. So answer is B, 2 and 3. Question 2, indigo cultivation in India declined by beginning of 20th century because of, even if you read Champaran Satyagraha, there you will clearly read about this problem that because at that time there were some new inventions in the market. Germans introduced it. Its unprofitability of indigo in the world market because of new inventions started happening. So that is why in India it declined by the beginning of 20th century. Clear cut B answer, very easy question. Question 3, Wellesley established the Fort William College, Calcutta because in 1700 it was established. Primarily it was the time he wanted to train British civilians for administrative purpose, basically for training civil servants. Question 4, with reference to history of India, Ulgulan or the Great Tumult is the description of which of the following events? In the revolts, especially tribal revolts, you would read about Birsa Munda's revolt of 1899-1900, which talks about Ulgulan. It's a Ulgulan known as a Great Tumult as well. So it's pretty easy question. The next is with reference to the history of India, consider the following pairs. Orang, in charge of Treasury of State. In fact, Orang in Persian is warehouse. It's not in charge of, so it is wrong. Bania was actually an Indian agent of the East India Company, and Mirasidar was designated revenue payer to the state under the Rayotwadi system. So answer 2 and 3 are correct. So answer is B, 2 and 3 only. The next is, which of the following statements correctly explains the impact of the Industrial Revolution on India during the first half of the 19th century? A, Indian handicrafts were ruined. Of course they were ruined because Industrial Revolution brought in cheap products manufactured across the world into India, and the Indian handicrafts were ruined because of it. But let us look at the other options also, but this is clearly a correct option. Machines were introduced in the Indian textile industry in large number. No, in fact deindustrialization of India happened. Railways line were laid in many parts of the country. Not in the first half of 19th century, only in the second half of 19th century. So this is also incorrect. Heavy duties were imposed on the imports of British manufacturers. No, in fact, very little duties were imposed. So correct answer is A. That is, Indian handicrafts were ruined. Question number 7, with reference to book Deshar Katha, written by Sakharam Ganesh Dioskar during the freedom struggle, consider the following statements. Such kind of questions I would usually term these as difficult and out of context question. But that does not mean that we do not look into similar questions. Maybe there is an option which we could eliminate and come to a correct answer. One thing is correct, that not at least 2 options are correct. 2 options are correct. This is clear. Okay. So now our objective is to find incorrect option. Let's try looking for that incorrect option. If there is none which we feel, that the answer can be D. It warned against the colonial state's hypnotic conquest of mind. I cannot, decipher it. Means just as a student, let's think like a student. There is nothing where it seems to be correct. It warned against colonial state's hypnotic conquest of mind. It inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. It did. It may have. Looks correct. The use of Desh by Dioskar was in the specific context of the region of Bengal. That may ring some alarm bells here. Why would UPSC ask a question when Desh is specifically for the region of Bengal here? I feel Desh would have a more wider conquest in such question and in such book, because that is why the question is asked. So Desh would be more pan-India here. So 3 seems to be incorrect. And if I have to guess, the clear-cut option is, not 2 and 3, but answer is 1 and 2. Okay, I would go for 1 and 2. The 8th question is, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact included which of the following? Invitation to Congress to participate in the Round Table Conference. Yes, it was given as Congress participated in the second Round Table Conference. Withdrawal of ordinances promulgated in connection with the civil disobedience movement, yes. Acceptance of Gandhiji's suggestion for inquiry into police. Acceptance. Even Gandhiji suggested for inquiry into police excesses, but was it accepted? No, it wasn't accepted. Release of only those prisoners who were not charged with violence. Yes, because at that time, if you remember, the only the release of prisoners which were not charged with violence happened, but the ones with violence specifically at that time, the hot issue was about Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, who were they were not released, those prisoners. So 1, 2 and 4 is the correct answer, B option. The Vittal Vidvansak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by, answer is actually Gopal Baba Walankar. Right, so the answer is Gopal. It's a factual question. But if M.K. Gandhi and B.R. Ambedkar would have been, at least we would have heard about it. But answer is, so many students would be usually confused between A and B. But even Jyotiba Phule hasn't. So Gopal Baba Walankar is the right answer. Now we'll look into UPSC Prelims 2019 questions on modern history, and they are total 7 in number. And the first question we'll go is, with reference to land reforms in independent India, which one of the following statements is correct? Land reforms in independent India. Why it is important, even though it is not a modern history direct question, it's more of a post-independence, but it has a direct relation with the pre-independence land reforms and means the movements. It is very important because if you have a very clear-cut picture of land reforms and land ceiling, or you can say the land revenue systems of past, you will be able to answer this very easily. The ceiling laws were aimed at family holdings and not individual holdings. The major aim of land reforms were providing agricultural land to all landless. This was the primary aim. So if you see, there are a lot of resolutions by INC were also aimed at this. Question 2 is, consider the following statements about the Charter Act of 1813. So Charter Act of 18, it ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India, except for trade in tea and trade with China. Correct, absolutely correct. It asserted the sovereignty of British Crown over Indian territories held by the company. Yes, it is also correct, asserted its sovereignty. The revenues of India were now controlled by the British Parliament. No, not entirely. They wanted to influence it, but it is not. The revenues of India were not now completely controlled by the British Parliament. So answer is A, 1 and 2. With reference to Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. It contributed to the revival of the indigenous artisan crafts and industries. Yes, it did, because there was, so if the foreign cloth was being burnt or foreign cloth was not being worn, it by default led to the revival of the indigenous artisan crafts and industries. The National Council of Education was established as part of Swadeshi movement. It is also correct. So answer is both 1 and 2. Consider the following pairs. Movement organization leader. Number 1, All India Anti-Untouchability League, All India Kisan Sabha and Self-Respect Movement. Self-Respect Movement, very easy. E.V. Ramaswamy Naika, correct. All India Anti-Untouchability League, Mahatma Gandhi, correct. You might have confusion with All India Kisan Sabha, but answer is Swami Sahajanand Saraswati is also correct. So answer is D, 1, 2 and 3. All are correct. So the next is, with reference to British colonial rule in India, consider the following statements. Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition of system of indentured labor. Yes, this is correct, because if you see his contribution in South Africa, clearly helped in removal of indentured labor because of the kinds of conditions and the way he fought in South Africa for the rights of the people there. So it is correct, number 1. In Lord Chelmsford War Conference, so we are talking about which war? World War I? Yes. Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. In fact, he did. He did support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. So this is incorrect. So 2 is incorrect. 3 by default should be correct. Let's look at the third option. Consequent upon the breaking of salt law by Indian people, the Indian National Congress was declared illegal by colonial rulers. Right, it is correct. So answer is B, 1 and 3 only. With reference to Indian national movement, consider following pairs. So person Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru, KC Nyogi and PC Joshi. KC Nyogi we've often heard as a member of the Constituent Assembly. PC Joshi was also an important member of the Communist Party so he's the General Secretary, Communist Party, yes. Tej Bahadur Sapru, President of All India, because he was considered a big liberal by default, yeah. So this answer are all correct. D, 1, 2 and 3. Which one of the following groups of plants was domesticated in the New World and introduced in the Old World? Now the question is pretty interesting, and why it is related with modern history, because that is where the period in which a lot of plantation agriculture or the people indentured laborers were taken from one part of the world to the other. So which one of the following groups of plants was domesticated in New World? New World, the new countries which have come up, and also introduced in the Old World. So cotton was already there. Cotton, as you can see, is already there in the Old World because India is there. Old World, it's not introduced. So B should be incorrect. Sugarcane was already there in India. It was not introduced, so it is also incorrect. And wheat was also grown so long back, so this is also incorrect. And only option remains is A. Tobacco was introduced, domesticated in New World and also introduced in Old World, yes. Cocoa, yes, it was also. And rubber, it was also. Answer is A. So now we will start with the questions for UPSC Prelims 2018. So in year 2018, 13 questions are there in modern history. So you can understand such important in 2018, 13% of the entire paper is modern Indian history. So let's look at the questions one by one. So question 1, he wrote biographies of Mazzini, Garibaldi, Shivaji and Sri Krishna. He stayed in America for some time and was also elected to the Central Assembly. Who he was? Very easy. If you are aware, the answer is Lala Lajpat Rai. Regarding Wood's dispatch, which of the following statements are true? Grants in aid system was introduced. Yes, it was. Establishment of universities was recommended. It was. English as a medium of instruction at all levels of education was recommended. At all levels? No. So third is incorrect. Answer is A, 1 and 2 only are the correct answer. So this is A is the correct answer. Question 3. In the federation established by the Government of India Act 1935, residuary powers were given to, very easy, it was given to Governor General. The answer is Governor General. Very easy question. As of now, the residuary powers are with the central government, but in Government of India Act 1935, it was with the Governor General. After the Santhal uprising subsided, what were the measures taken by the colonial government? The territories called Santhal Parganas was created. Yes, this happened. It became illegal for Santhal to transfer land to non-Santhal. It was also correct. So both 1 and 2 are the correct answer. So C is the correct answer. The next is the staple commodities of export by English East Indian Company from Bengal in the middle of 18th century were. So you have to understand middle of 18th century, around 1750s. Export by English East India Company, export from Bengal. So remember, so let's look at it. Oil seeds, there were lesser production. So oil seeds in India also at that time, particularly Bengal, was not a hub. So where oil seeds is there, it will be incorrect. Sugar, salt, zinc and raw cotton also. So if you see, muslin was very raw cotton. No. Sugar, salt, zinc, and lead. Sugar, also sugar cane, at that time, not for export. Tea, at that time, plantations were never set up till then. So tea was not. Answer is cotton. Specifically the cotton of the muslin, silk, saltpeter, and opium. This is the correct answer. So answer is D. The next one, sixth, which one of the following is a very significant aspect of the Champaran Satyagraha? Active all India participation of lawyers, students, and women in the national movement. Active involvement of Dalit and tribal communities. Champaran is a rural village where peasants participated. So here C, joining of peasant unrest to India's national movement. This is the highlight of Champaran Satyagraha. Answer is C. Seventh question, who among the following were the founders of Hind Mazdoor Sabha established in 1948? So Hind Mazdoor Sabha established in 1948. Answer is actually Ashok Mehta, T.S. Ramanujam, and G.G. Mehta. It's a factual question. A little difficult, but answer is this: Ashok Mehta, T.S. Ramanujam, and G.G. Mehta. Which one of the following foreign travelers elaborately discussed about diamonds and diamond mines of India? Francois Berner? No, he didn't. Answer actually is Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. He elaborately discussed about diamonds and diamond mines in India. B. Which one of the following statement does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance introduced by Lord Wellesley? Which one of the following statement did not apply? To maintain large standing army at others' expense? Yes, it did at that time. To keep India safe from Napoleon? Yes, it was. To secure a fixed income it was not a source of income for the company. So it was more of a safety, decision which was taken for the security of the company. So C is incorrect. So C is the right answer for this. It was, this statement does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance. In fact, D is applied to establish British paramountcy of Indian states. So A, B, or C is the correct answer. 10th. Which one of the following led to the introduction of English education in India? Which one of these led to the introduction of English education in India? Charter Act of 1813. It first time did talk about the introduction of English education. Yes. General Committee of Public Instruction 1823. No. An Orientalist and Anglicist controversy? It was, because at the end the Anglicist controversy prevailed and it led to the introduction of English language. So English language, English education. In fact, General Committee of Public Instruction talked about instruction more in their vernaculars. So answer is C, 1 and 3 only. In 1920, which of the following changed the name to Swarajya Sabha? Swarajya. Home League. Swarajya. Answer is A, All India Home Rule League. This is the correct answer. Hindu Mahasabha, no, it, South Indian Liberal Federation, Servants of India, no. Answer is A. Which among the following events happened earliest? A, Swami Dayanand established Arya Samaj. 1875. Okay, let's look at it. Deenbandhu Mitra wrote Neel Darpan. This year is 1858-59. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay wrote Anand Math. The year is 1882. And Satyendranath Tagore became the first Indian to succeed in Indian Civil Services. It's around 1866 or 65. But answer is B. Deenbandhu Mitra wrote Neel Darpan. So B is the correct answer. With reference to the educational institution during colonial rule in India, consider the following pairs. Sanskrit College at Banaras by William Jones. Calcutta Madrasa by Warren Hastings. Fort William College by Arthur Wellesley. Which one of the following pairs above is our correct founder? In fact, William Jones is not the founder of Sanskrit College at Banaras. Neither is Arthur Wellesley the founder of Fort William College. But Warren Hastings is the founder of Calcutta Madrasa. Correct answer is B. So this correct answer is B. Now let's go into the questions for UPSC Prelims 2017 for Modern Indian History. The first question which we'll go through is, with reference to the Indian freedom struggle, consider the following events. Number 1, mutiny in Royal Indian Navy. Okay, 1946, around that time. Quit India movement launched 1942. Second Round Table Conference 1932. What is the correct chronological sequence? So in the sequence is 3, 1, 2. Answer is D, 3, 1, 2. So in the chronological sequence, yes. So second round table conference 3, 1 and 2 is the correct answer. The next question is, the object of Butler Committee of 1927 was to define the jurisdiction of central and provincial governments. So Butler Committee, as soon as it comes to your mind, princely state should come to your mind. So it was, the major idea was to improve the relationship between the government of India and the Indian states. So where Indian states means, of course, the princely states. So answer is D. Who among the following were associated with the introduction of Ryotwadi settlement in India during British rule? Not Cornwallis, but answer is Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro. So the correct answer is C. Now let's consider the following. Question 4. Consider the following statements. The Factory Act 1881 was passed with view to fix the wages of industrial workers and to allow the workers to form trade unions. Okay, yeah. So the next is, the N.M. Lokhande was pioneer in organizing labor movement in India. Factories Act 18 was passed with a view to fix the wages. No, at that time they were not interested to fix the wages, but rather the unrest of industrial workers and to allow workers to form, no, not trade unions. In fact, was to ensure that the strikes do not happen. So A, is the one statement 1 is incorrect. N.M. Lokhande was pioneer. Yes, he was. So correct answer is B. Now the last set of questions for a particular year for modern Indian history we'll be going through is year 2016. So let's start with the same. The Swadeshi and boycott were adopted as methods of struggle for the first time during agitation against the partition of Bengal. Yes, answer is A. It was after 1905, around that time. Swadeshi movement. Satya Shodhak Samaj, very easy question, organized. So Jyotiba Phule. In caste movements we've read it. So he started a movement for upliftment of tribal. No. Temple entry movement in Gujarat. No. An anti-caste movement in Maharashtra. Yes. So answer is C. The Montague-Chelmsford proposals were related to social reforms, educational reforms, no. Reforms in police administration, no. Constitutional reforms, yes. Eventually led to the Act of 1919, Government of India Act of 1919. Answer is D. Fine. Now, the next one, consider the following. Calcutta Unitarian Committee, Tabernacle of New Dispensation, Indian Reform Association. Keshav Chandra Sen. So Keshav Chandra Sen, popularly known with the Brahmo Samaj, is associated with establishment of which of the above? It's not Calcutta Unitarian Committee, it's Tabernacle of New Dispensation and Indian Reform Association. 2 and 3. Answer is B. What was the main reason for the split in the Indian National Congress at Surat? Introduction of communalism into Indian politics by Lord Minton? No. Extremist lack of faith in the capacity of moderates to negotiate with British government. So there was, of course, this extremist versus moderates, and that was the primary reason for the split. Answer is B. Let's look at C. Foundation of Muslim League. No, even though Muslim League was founded in 1906, but it is not the correct answer. Aurobindo Ghosh's inability to be elected. No. Answer is B, which is extremist lack of faith in the capacity of moderates to negotiate with the British government. So the next one, the plan of Sir Stafford Cripps envisaged that after the Second World War, Stafford Cripps, India should be granted complete independence. No, she never said that. India should be partitioned into before granting independence. No, it was not at the not Sir Stafford Cripps who envisaged this. India should be made a republic with condition that she will join the Commonwealth. No. India should be given dominion status. So dominion status was talked about. Fine. So this is where we complete all the important, all the MCQs previous year questions from year 2016 to 2023. One thing you would have realized is the number of questions varies from 4 to 13 in a particular year. And that is a big figure. So what I predict is at least 5 questions, which is again a big number in modern Indian history. And one of the hot topics this year have been the revolutionary movements. And I feel that a question or two should surely be asked somewhere in this. So must make sure you revise. This video, the main idea is for firstly making you aware about the kind of questions, how you should approach it. And the questions are not at all difficult. It can be easily done by all of you. And it's a very scoring portion for you in the prelims this year. So all the very best and thank you for joining in UPSCprep.com and do subscribe the channel for more such videos in future.